Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Study Lounge with Valley Noble. I'm your host, Sylves, and we've got a great lineup for you today. So, at Valley Noble, we're an educational consultancy business and we help international students like yourself prepare to study in Australia. So we've got a great show lined up, but before we get started, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you from wherever you're tuning in. If you're tuning in live from around the world, great to have you here. If you're on our replay, also great to have you here. If you'd like to subscribe and drop a comment in our comment section, we'd love to hear where you're from and to hear from all our global community. So thank you for being with us this morning. Brisbane, it is 7 a.m. and it is our day. What is it? Day 19. Way to go, guys.
Good journey, good journey.
We have today with us the rest of our team, Puni and Shah.
Hi,
Good morning, guys.
morning.
Hello, good morning.
How you going, Shah? How's your morning?
Good, thanks. Just had to wake up a little earlier, but it was good. How's your guys' morning going?
Yeah, not too bad. What about you, Puni?
Yeah, I actually didn't feel too tired this morning when I woke up.
So
That's good.
maybe it's because it's Friday over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Yes.
like, yes, Friday. So again, thanks for joining us and great to see you guys this morning on a beautiful Friday morning. But let's get things kicked off here. And so, Puni, what we're doing today, actually, sorry, before we go jump in, we are going to be having a look at for you coming to Australia, working in Australia while you're studying. So these are a few different tips that we can look at. Uh, Even before you get here, you can start having a look, and then when you get here, you'll be a bit more prepared. But Puni, let's get things kicked off. What are must-haves for international students preparing to work in Australia?
Thanks, Sales. The first thing is that you have to ensure you have a valid student visa with work rights. So, laws might be different in your homeland or home country. So, you might have a job or have worked before in your homeland, but things might be a little different in Australia. So ensuring that you have that student visa, a valid student visa with work rights, is probably the main thing that you must have. But you also need to apply for a TFN, so a tax file number. So here in Australia, a tax file number is like a number that links to all your finances, whether it's tax, whether it's it could even be your Centrelink, or it could even be a part of your Australian taxation office. So just making sure that you apply for a a tax file number is important to keep track of your finances and make sure that you have the edge on tax and everything.
So yeah, definitely tax file number to get you started for all your working I guess rights for getting taxed while you're working.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Shah, can you elaborate on how international students can apply for a tax file number?
Yeah, sure. So it's a very easy process to apply for a tax file number. So you can do the application online on the ATO website, so the Australian Tax Office website. And so just like any other form, you fill out your details, you make sure you include your visa information in there, and then you submit that online. And so once it's approved, your tax file number will be posted to you. So it'll take about 28 days. And they encourage you not to reapply, because I know sometimes when it takes a while, we're like, oh, maybe they didn't get it. They did get it. There's just a lot that they go through when it comes to tax file numbers. So it will be sent to your Australian postal address, and just make sure you keep an eye out for it. And a link for that or for the website will be in our description, so that you can apply for the tax file number.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Shah. And so, yeah, just jump on our description and you can have a look there. So I think the next thing after, so you've got your bright, spanking, brand new tax file number, the best thing and the next thing is to go out there and look for work or look for a job. So go to your different universities. They would have that posted. They've got quite a few postings, for looking for work. Check online, but definitely check with your career pathways at work. Definitely have a look for friends within either your dorm, either if you're living with other students, ask them where they've looked for work. So that's important. But your next one is writing your resume. So it's really important to have a good structured resume that showcases like the different work that you do. But we do have in our description also a link to some of the work tools that we use and other projects that we do outside of Valley Noble. And so that is called the best free online resume builder. There you go. So that link is also in the description, and it's a good way to set out your resume. So, they can tailor your resume for you, and it's really important for you to tailor your resume for your job and what type of work that you can do. That's also your cover letter. So it gives a really great breakdown in there. Have a look and find one that's specific for you. But after the resume, so you want to go and, you've submitted your resume, you've got a job interview, and Shah, let's talk about acing those job interviews. What are some, actually, Puni, I'm jumping the gun here. What are some smart steps for international students to prepare for that big job interview day?
So preparation is key, Sills.
Yes.
You always want to be prepared. So even researching the job that you're applying for could give you some background information to know what you're up against. Sorry, bit of a sick one today. So yeah, researching the business that you might be applying for, so you have a rough understanding on what you might be getting into, or what kind of jobs you'll be applying for, I guess, and positions that you could possibly be awarded. So the second tip is practice common interviews. So what I like to do before an interview is I like to go through with Sills common I guess interviews or questions that could possibly come up when I'm getting interviewed for the job or position. So it's just common questions like, what kind of how would you assess the situation, whether it's through talking to a client or talking to a customer, just common questions that are regularly asked in interviews. And also don't forget to dress for success. So you never want to go to an interview dressing like, how I'm dressing right now, because most likely they're going to look at you and they're going to be like, oh, he's not prepared, or he's not ready for a job. So making sure that you look smart, smart casual. It doesn't even have to be formal. As long as you dress smart, that's the best way to approach a job interview. And my last tip is arrive on time. So you never want, no matter how much experience you have on your resume, or how much you've done on the field, if you arrive late, that's one of the biggest stuff ups you can do. So always arrive on time. That's like the biggest tip I can give you guys. So please follow these tips and you should be fine.
Thanks, Puni. Yeah, I like to say definitely arriving on time. Some tips that we give our other students is to, have a look on your Google Maps, your Apple Maps, or whatever maps you use. Maybe you're using Waze to sort of estimate how long it's going to take to get there, especially if you're taking public transport. Maybe take a test run a couple of days before so you can sort of estimate the time that you will be arriving at your destination. And remember, always give plenty of time for maybe there's roadworks or issues with your car if you're traveling by car, or issues with public transport if you're traveling that way. But yes, Puni, that was a great tip. Always arrive on time, because before your interview starts pretty much as soon as you walk in the door. And if you walk in the door late, it's just not a good look. So thanks. Yeah, make sure you arrive on time. And what about Shah? How can international students showcase their unique strengths and experiences during the interview?
So before I get there, I just wanted to say that, as international students, I think it's important to remember that you have quite an advantage because you bring diversity. You also bring fresh perspective, like things that you may have done in jobs in your home country, those types of things or skills you can then apply to whatever job you get here. And so I think just remembering those things and what you bring to the table is important. But you definitely want to highlight your adaptability and also your cross-cultural communication skills. You also want to add how your experience has helped you. Also, don't be afraid of sharing any achievements that you have that's relevant to the job description or to the job that you're applying for, or any projects that you were either a part of or you headed, So make sure that you highlight those things as well. Also, if you were working in an area which brings in diverse customers, just highlighting that you can speak another language is also a plus, especially if the clientele of the job that you're applying at has clients that speak the same language as you. That's also something you want to highlight as well. So just to refresh, adaptability, cross-cultural communications, you want to highlight on that, highlight on your experiences that have shaped you, highlight on any relevant achievements or projects that you've worked on back home that you can bring those skills to the job that you're applying to, and then also your language, the language that you can speak. So those are some things that you can highlight while you're in your interview for the jobs that you're applying for.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for that, Shah. That's excellent advice. So let's have a look. So now, besides job interview preparation, what else could international students consider while looking for jobs or seeking employment in Australia? Puri?
Okay, thanks, Shah and Silves, but okay, girls and guys out there, networking is gold.
Yeah.
So having that connection with others is like an important part of everyone's life. So making sure that you have that connection, even if it's just like a friend of a friend, having that who's in a similar job workforce as you, it can help you build that experience as you're able to connect and share similar, experiences with one another. So connecting with your university career or services or job for placement programs, they're great resources for job listings or even mock interviews. So having that little bit of experience can help you in the job or workforce, and making sure that you tailor your resume to the Aussie style. So it might be a little bit different to with whatever home country you're from, but making sure that it's as the same style as Australia. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Puni. That's great advice there. I think another good idea would be to change your dictionary settings or your spelling settings when you get to Australia, or even before you get here. So we have different settings from the US, so we use British English or Australian English. So have a look at the settings in your computer, your laptop, and ensure that it spells for the Australian dictionary. So that would probably be another good tip for you guys. Shah, what about how can international students juggle their work commitments with their study? Because we know that they're here for study and it's really important that they make sure to get that sorted. So what kind of tips could you give international students for that?
That's a good question, Sil. So, and I think it's a very important one because you are here to study, but then also you can work depending on your visa. I think time management is key. So, you know, ensuring that you have that balance between the both. So make sure, you know, whether it's creating a schedule so that you can kind of map out how much study you need to do and then your hours of work, and then making sure that you have enough time for both. But I think it's really important to stay on top of your academic responsibilities because that's the reason you're here. And so, you know, making sure that you communicate those responsibilities to your academics, to your supervisor or your manager or employer, you know, and making sure you stick to those commitments. So I think it's, you know, time management and finding the right balance between academics and work life. And if you find that balance, then you'll definitely be able to succeed while you're here.
Awesome, awesome. And I think that goes into the next question, which would be your 2 final tips, but I think you pretty much nailed it there for our 2 final tips, right? So yeah, again, guys, make sure you have that balance of work life and study, as Charlene talked about, as Shah talked about, as well as making sure you check out your visas, as Puni talked about earlier, because all visas are different for whatever course that you're studying here. So please make sure that you check out your visa rights and study rights. There is one thing that I forgot to mention earlier was that, you know, when it was pre-pandemic times, when it was pandemic times, international students could work a lot more. So just check your study visas because that has been changed since the 1st of July this year, and just make sure what are the requirements or what eligibilities that you're allowed to work. So make sure you check that out. There is one more important thing that I want to stress around safety with work. Always make sure that you're safe, especially for your working nights. There are a few roles there that require you to be at a night shift. Always look around, make sure of your, you know, just take care of yourself, making sure that you're safe, telling people where you're going, you know, so if you've got roommates, dorm mates, just ensuring that you are letting them know that you're going to work at night, giving them the numbers of where you're going to be, making sure that when you're arriving back from a job, going onto campus, if there's security around, check, you know, ask maybe could you be picked up at a specific point, but just making sure you're looking after yourself, keeping safe. And I think one big thing regarding employment or those that you're going to work for, never ever give your passport to somebody, to your employer, for, like, they might say you need to work with me and you need to give me your passport. So always keep that passport safe with you in person at wherever you live, but don't give your passport to your employer. They don't need to have it. They can check, like they can make copies of things. Isn't that right, Shah? So maybe even if they require information from your passport, you can photocopy that, but don't hand over your passport to employers. Shah, do you have any quick things around their comments?
I think you touched on them, touched on all of them. Just ensuring your safety, I think, is important. And yeah, definitely just keep your passport on you. If they say that they need to hold on to it, then yeah, it's probably not the job for you.
Yeah. You don't need that job.
Yeah. But I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. What about you, Puni? Have you got any other?
It was just touching base on safety. As you're coming into Australia, it is a new environment, so you have to remember that things are going to be a bit new for you. But if you ever are struggling or you do require assistance, just let someone know. Let your friends know, your peers, your lecturers, or even us. So if you do ever need any help or assistance, just let us know, and we're here to help.
We definitely are. Well, thank you, Puni and Shah. That pretty much concludes our segment here on Working on Australia for international students. Thanks for sharing some important tips, guys. That's great. And from the essentials like getting your TFN or your tax file number to nailing those job interviews, to managing work and study commitments, and also writing your resume, you're all set. And for that great experience down under. So best of luck to all of you international students and legends out there.
Good luck, guys.
But once again, thank you for all joining us on this live stream with Valley Noble. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. If you have any more questions, don't forget to leave us a comment in the comment section, and definitely describe and pass this on or share this to your friends or family who would be coming to Australia to study. If you have any more questions, give us a yell on our comment sections. Send us messages and keep shining brightly and spreading positivity wherever you go. And remember, stay safe and stay noble. See you guys.
See ya.
Happy
Yeah.
Friday. Woohoo!